From the Daily Caller, Twitter suspends former Treasury official after he compared Brian Stelter to the Gimp from Pulp Fiction.
Whoa.
This is not newsworthy, but considering, for those that are just tuning in, or didn't watch the last segments, we were talking very, very seriously about war and gun rights, and I was like, and now we need to slam into a brick wall of nonsense to kind of calm down and have a good laugh at the expense of others. Yes. Yeah. So the reason I'm starting with this, and we're going to be ragging on Brian Stelter, it's not because somebody compared him to the Gimp from Pulp Fiction, but more so because he is being slammed. Quote, "This is how state TV functions. Glenn Greenwald rips CNN's Brian Stelter for fawning over White House's Jen Psaki in one of the most sycophantic interviews of a state official you'll ever see." Now, this is funny. We're going to read the Gimp story. But I want to just stress the point that Brian Stelter is the guy who routinely ragged on Fox as the state propaganda. It's the propaganda arm of the state. This is what state TV looks like. And then give him the opportunity, and he just gives. I wouldn't even call it a softball interview. It was a wiffle ball interview. He was lightly tossing wiffle balls to Jen Psaki, who then hit him straight out of the park. Well, here's what happened on the Daily Caller. They say, Internet Accountability Project founder Mike Davis and former Treasury official Will Upton were temporarily suspended from Twitter for comparing CNN anchor Brian Stelter to the character Gimp from the movie Pulp Fiction. Twitter first suspended Upton on Sunday night after he made a post that mocked the anchor. Stelter had asked Press Secretary Jen Psaki what she believed the media doesn't accurately cover about the Biden administration. Fun fact, Brian Stelter is the Gimp from Pulp Fiction. Upton's initial tweet read, which was followed up by a GIF of the character from the 1994 film. Oh, so they restored it. Oh, wonderful. My. Upton was suspended shortly after posting the tweet, but had his account unsuspended a few hours later after successfully appealing the suspension, the Federalist reported. Upton tweeted that he simply pointed out that comparing a public figure to a fictional movie character does not violate the terms of service, saying, correct. LOL, this tweet got me temporarily suspended from Twitter. I appealed and won. I simply pointed out that comparing a public figure to a fictional movie character does not violate their terms of service. Shortly after Upton was unsuspended, Davis was then temporarily suspended from Twitter for defending Upton's post, according to the Federalist, citing that he had violated rules against hateful conduct on the site. You really put big tech critic W. Upton in a Twitter jail for comparing Brian Stelter to the Gimp in Pulp Fiction? I'd be very upset if I were the Gimp as well. Bravo, good sir. Now let's talk about not what we're getting. I point this out. Glenn Greenwald tears into CNN. But take a look at what's happening here. You see the story? Nigeria suspends Twitter after Twitter suspends its president. I'm conflicted on this one. Just take a look at how our media operates. We got major breaking news censored in this country, the Hunter Biden story. Many people were polled. This was a Rasmussen poll. Many people. It was the most people. Everyone agrees. No, a lot of people were polled, and it turns out around 6% of people said that had they known about Hunter Biden, they would not have supported Joe Biden, which would have been more than enough for Trump to take many of the states he would have needed to win. But Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, they collude. They ban people. They do just enough to make sure milquetoast channels like this one survive, but then get rid of anybody who's posting anything too edgy or too controversial, and they suppress it and they shut it down. Nigeria struck back. They blocked Twitter. They say the country announced the move 2 days after the platform temporarily froze the Nigerian president's official account on Wednesday for allegedly violating its abusive behavior policy. Quote, the federal government has suspended indefinitely the operations of the microblogging and social networking service Twitter in Nigeria, a news release from the Nigerian Minister of Information and Culture, Alhaji Lai Mohammed's office stated. So you can see they announced it. In a Friday statement announcing the move, Mohammed cited the persistent use of the platform for activities that are capable of undermining Nigeria's corporate existence. As a reason for the decision, according to the press release, the Nigerian government did not provide more details on how it will carry out the suspension of the tech giant's operations in the country or on the activities Mohammed mentioned in a statement. An aide at the ministry told Reuters, wait and see how things will turn out. Now, I don't know how I feel about this, right? So again, the gist of the story, Twitter is suspended in Nigeria after suspending the president. I don't know how I feel about that, but I kind of think it's an important move. Again, I'm not sure. I'd have to think through it, maybe have some arguments and hear some people what they think. The criticism, I suppose, is A government shutting down social media? That sounds bad. What if people are rightly criticizing that leader as authoritarian, or what if he's a despot? What if they're sharing real information, trying to challenge? What if it's like you criticize Kamala Harris and then she uses the government to shut down social media because they don't like what's happening? The difference here, though, is that Nigeria blocked Twitter because Twitter was interfering with its politics. And that's really, really bad. So it's kind of inverted. If there's a politician saying and doing nasty things and we use social media to call them out, that's power to the people. If Twitter bans those people, it's a problem. That's what Twitter is doing. Conservatives call out malfeasance from Democrats and get banned for doing so. We just read, you criticize a CNN anchor and they suspend you? That's insane. But what happens when Twitter is interfering with your politics like they were here? What happens then when the government says we're not going to allow Twitter to operate because it's interfering in the political system? This is different. I don't know. Ian, you actually have experience moderating, so I'm curious what you think.
Well, with Minds was where I moderated at. Our terms of service were the U.S. Constitution and specifically Connecticut law where the corporation was formed. So if someone didn't violate the U.S. Constitution, U.S. law, they wouldn't get banned off the site.
What's your thoughts on this? I mean, look.
I don't know. What did he get banned for?
I don't know. He tweeted something offensive, so Twitter suspends him.
If he violates terms of service, then the company has a right to ban him, but that legally. But I mean, it really speaks at like how much more powerful these corporations are than national governments.
You mean the other way around?
Oh, I think the corporations has more power and influence than the government. If they want to, not necessarily, they don't have a military, but they could definitely hire, Blackwater or some sort of like mercenary guard if they wanted. Twitter could.
They're not called it.
I think Blackwater changed their name now.
7 times.
Yeah. Bad press.
I don't know. What do you think, Mr. Seamus? Nigeria banned Twitter because Twitter was interfering in their politics.
I mean, Nigeria, oh man, there was a great, someone made a meme about this. I don't think it was Nigeria, it was another country, but Twitter was banned there, and someone's response was, well, you know what? Nigeria, it acts as a private country. Twitter can make their own.
That's right.
So I have to give credit where it's due. I won't try to pass that off as my own joke. But yeah, I'm not sure. I guess I don't have that strong of an opinion on this one. I think that Nigeria can do what Nigeria wants to do. If they want to ban Twitter, that's fine. That's on them. I'm not going to say they've violated some international law, and so we should go after them. As a nation, they don't have an obligation to allow Twitter to offer their service in their country.
What if Donald Trump was like, my tweets have been censored, so we are formally shutting down Twitter?
Yeah.
Would have been interesting. Yeah, I don't know. I'm curious how that would have played out, if he can even have accomplished something like that, given he was going to be out of office soon. I mean, the Biden administration would surely overturn something like that immediately.
It is interesting because it's an American company operating in America. The government doesn't have the power to do so. But for Nigeria, it's a foreign corporation operating in their borders. They very well could just be like...
So Twitter's learning that some countries aren't going to put up with their nonsense. Oh, poor Twitter.
I think this same
I feel
thing
so bad for them.
With the Florida law that they're talking about, DeSantis was going to pass, that if they, if Twitter bans some people in Florida, but Florida was like, hey, you can't do that, the Twitter would just get banned out of Florida as well, like they just did out of Nigeria.
Interesting.
Or block their own activity out of Florida.
All I know is for a nation to say that they don't want a foreign corporation to limit their leaders' abilities to communicate with their citizens is not a bad thing. That just seems completely reasonable and straightforward.
The thing is, at what point is it considered a foreign corporation anymore? Like, all corporations are foreign. I don't care where their headquarters is.
Right. I mean, they're hiding money overseas. They're putting their headquarters in like Ireland and other countries to get away from taxes.
Maybe some of it's in Nigeria. Maybe they made a deal with one of those princes that was sending them emails.
They're going to start putting corporations in space stations. Mm-hmm. Then, we're not subject to anybody's laws. You can't do anything about it.
Dude, there was this hilarious, I was reading about this, there was this plan from some libertarian, I would imagine, to build this gigantic boat that would just be in international waters at all time, making this huge route around the world. And it was for the ultra wealthy, for them to run their businesses so that they wouldn't have to pay an income tax anywhere. And what you said just reminded me of that. Like, imagine at some point they're going to have these space stations. Maybe that's what Elon's trying to do. He just wants to go to Mars so he can be like, look, I'm not in America. I'm not paying income tax.
There's just like one guy in a 10 by 10 space station. And it's just like, it's their address is one space way.
Did you see?
And he lives there getting paid a lot of money he can't spend.
Bezos is retiring as CEO, and he's going to be on the first mission of Blue Origin, and he's going to be on the first manned space mission on his new rocket with his brother. They're going to be on.
Wait, what do you mean on the first manned space?
They're going into space. I think it's Blue Origin is the name of his company.
Oh, the first manned space mission.
So they're planning in June, I think it is, the first manned mission into space, and he's going to be on the rocket with his brother.
Wow.
Bezos.
I'm just waiting for something interesting to happen. It's like every day I wake up and I look at the news and I'm like, it's kind of the same thing.
Yeah, it's just boring.
Inflation.
So all it is
DMT.
reruns.
Yeah.
No,
You got to go inside if you
No,
want to find the
Ian,
next step
no,
of engagement in this
DMT.
reality.
I agree we
Yes.
should go inside,
Meditation.
but not with drugs.
Yes.
Yeah. No, drugs are
Breathing,
bad.
apparently breathing can get you there.
Yep.
Certain type of psychedelic trances, and like obviously diet, but breathing, if you do different breathing exercise,
Wim Hof.
that's where the excitement lies in reality, my friends.
We've been in this period for a couple decades where it's been extremely routine. Our conflicts have been, it's been so nice. It's been so good that the crisis we've faced has been rich people ripping off poor people.
Yeah, it's by design, man. They placated us. They made marijuana illegal. They made LSD illegal. They made psilocybin illegal. They made MDMA illegal. And they're trying to suppress people. They feed them all this sugar and they keep them they have been doing that. The rich people have been taking advantage of the masses.
No, hold on. I think if they really wanted to lull people into a sleep, they'd allow them to do the drugs.
Yeah,
No, it's the
I
other
would
way
agree.
around. It's
I
too
would totally
dangerous
agree.
for the status quo.
Then why do
People
you
start to
think-
think for themselves.
Then why do you think they're legalizing them all then?
It's just you can't fight the tide. At some point, the people and the democratization of power overcomes tyranny. At least that's what it seems like happens.
Thanks for checking out this clip from the Timcast IRL podcast. If you want to see the full show, come back to this channel, youtube.com/TimcastIRL, Monday through Friday at 8 p.m., where you can leave comments and super chat, and we actually will read your comments on the show. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and if you want exclusive members-only content, segments you can't get anywhere else, go to timcast.com, become a member, and we even have full bonus episodes. Thanks for hanging out, and we'll see you all next time.